Okay, Pythagorean theorem says for any right triangle, the sum of the squares of the lengths of the legs equals the square of the length of the hypotenuse. The little square plus little square equals a big square. And that gets us to the conclusion, if it's a right triangle, then a squared plus b squared equals c squared, where c is the side across from the right angle, what we call the, fill that in, hypotenuse. Yep, this is important. I expect you to know these terms. And then the two sides that touch the right angle, those are called A and B, and they are the legs, because there's two of them. And this is your 90-degree right angle. You can only use Pythagorean theorem if you have a right triangle. We're going to draw a right triangle under this one. I'm always going to draw mine the same way, probably facing this direction with my right angle at the corner. Now we're going to label what we know. We know that A is 10 and B is 12. Would someone please tell me, raise your hand, where should I put those? Jovi? Right, what are the legs again? The sides next to the right angle. Doesn't matter which one you put where. That one's a little bit shorter, so I'll make the bottom one 10 and the left one 12. So we got those two. We do not know what C is. Remember we talked about C is the side across from the right angle. It's that one, and so that's our missing side. We can call that X if we want. So I'm going to label that X. So we know our two legs. We are solving for the hypotenuse. When we solve for the hypotenuse, we got to make sure that the equals c squared, we don't put a number over there. So let's go ahead and write down our formula. This is a review. A squared plus b squared equals c squared. I do not know what c is, so I'm going to leave it as x squared. And then a and b are the two other sides. So I'm going to make a and b are the legs, and so that's 10 and 12. Because c is the side that's across from the right angle. So 10 squared plus 12 squared is equal to x squared. 10 squared is 10 times 10, which is what? 100. Write that down. And what's 12 squared?
144.
Tyler has a question. That's also still equal to x squared. You need to simplify, add it up. 244 is equal to x squared. Class, what's the opposite of squared? Square root. So you need to show that on both sides. This is not a perfect square. Do not be deceived. It's 244, not 144. Put it in your calculator as 15.6. So we're going to say that x is approximately 15.6. Remember that squiggly equal sign means we rounded. Okay, again, you're not given a triangle, so you need to draw one. And then we're going to label our sides. Right angle goes over here. Oh, looks like we're solving for C again. So let's draw that arrow across from the right angle. It says C is equal to question mark. Do we know what C is?
No.
Nope. So make it X. And then your other two sides are A and B. 6 and 8. Do this one on your own. So you do not know what C is. So remember we on whatever day we did this, we said, okay, well that's C. You would circle it and write C, so you make sure you put it in your equation correctly. When you plug in, this is what it should look like. And then square. Simplify, solve. So if I give you 3 sides and I say, tell me, do these 3 sides make a right triangle? Here's what you're going to do. You're going to mark the longest side as C. So you're going to find, okay, what's the biggest number? That's what has to be C, because C is the longest side. It's diagonal. Then you're going to write the Pythagorean theorem, a squared plus b squared equals c squared, and plug in the numbers you know. And then if it's true, it's a right triangle. That's easy, promise. I'm looking at these 3 numbers. If is a triangle with side lengths of 5, 6, and 8 a right triangle? The longest side is C. So guys, which number, 5, 6, or 8? Which number is going to be C? 8. So I'm going to circle 8, just like we do in the triangle, and write C. Because if you know that one is C, then the other ones have to be A and B. Let's write down Pythagorean theorem. Always, 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 always. So you don't screw it up. Because I really think that everyone should be doing super well on solving these type of things. Xavier, what goes in for C? 8. So it's going to be equals 8 squared. Sebastian, what do you want me to put for A?
5.
Sure. So the other one, B, is going to be 6. Because A and B are those are interchangeable. They're the legs. There's 2 of them. Doesn't matter if you could do 6 squared plus 5 squared equals 8 squared. It does not have to be in numerical order. Okay, do not put this in your calculator. What is 5 squared? What is it, guys?
25.
25. 5 times 5.
36.
What's 6 squared?
36.
What's 8 squared?
64.
Okay. So I'm going to, just like we do before, write down what those numbers actually are. Now I'm going to add the left-hand side. We're going to simplify it. Combine like terms. 25 plus 30 is 55. Plus 6 more, what do I get, Alice? 61. 61 equals 64. Is that a true equation? I hope you said no. 61 is not the same thing as 64. So what do you think, guys? Is it a right triangle?
No.
No, because a squared plus b squared equals c squared did not work. So is it a right triangle? You have to say, no, it is not a right triangle. Answer the question. That should say, no, it is not. Isn't. There we go. I'm going to say is not. Just so we all are on the same page. It is not a right triangle. Thank you for catching that. 41 is the biggest number, so I'm going to circle it and write C. Oops, just covered that up. The other 2 numbers, 40 and 9, is what's left. And those are going to be A and B. They're interchangeable. So 41 goes for C. The other 2 go for A and B. Finish this on your own. Well, I know 4 times 4 is 16, so 40 times 40, 2 zeros is 1,600. Plus 81. I don't know what 41.
That's what I forgot to do.
What's 41 squared?
1,600.
1,681.
Oh.
So I'm going to add these up. So really I should have like question marks up here. Is this true? Is this true? Is it true, guys?
Yes.
Yes, you end up with something that's true. 1,681 is equal to 1,681. Because that's true, we say yes. It's a right triangle. Because Pythagorean theorem works.
I forgot to do that part.